This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. All right, not hearing anybody. So this meeting will be played via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Live Video on Demand archives on the Town of Barnstable's website, and there is a link in the agenda for that. So, first up is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any edits or changes? All right, not hearing any, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, do we have to do roll call vote? So Patrick?
Yes,
Yeah.
I.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right, great. Approval of the minutes from the prior meeting. Anyone have edits or changes?
No.
All right. I'll motion again to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second again.
Thank you, Patrick. Tim?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right. Operations report, Kevin.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We'll jump right into it. On the 1st of October, Wednesday, staff assisted Roderick Construction with a service repair located at 114 Uncle Willie's Way. RCI was on site to perform a service repair on the 1-inch service that was leaking between the curb stop and the house. The repairs were made and the job was inspected and the service was restored to the home. October 7th, Veolia staff were called out to Calmus Beach and Ocean Street for a report of a water break. Upon arrival, it was quickly discovered that the leak was very close to the public bathroom and needed to be shut down due to the amount of water and the size of the leak. Thankfully, this was not a big deal considering it was October, opposed to July, and no one was around. So Bortolotti was notified and they scheduled to come the next day to make the repairs. October 9th. Thursday, Veolia staff were at the Mayor Treatment Plant alongside Carbon Activated Company to perform a carbon exchange on Mayor 1 lead vessel. The exchange took about 4 hours and there were no issues to report. The vessel was sealed, filled with the system water, so 2 samples could be taken before being put back online. Sunday, October 12th, on-call staff received his first ever vehicle versus fire hydrant call from the police. Upon arrival, Juan realized very quickly how serious the situation was. With water pouring out of the hydrant at a little less than 10,000 gallons a minute, he knew he had to work quickly to restore pressure and the water loss to the system. The system pressure typically runs about 80 psi. When the vehicle hit the hydrant, the pressure in the system dropped to about 40, which is exactly half. When the system experiences significant drops like this, it can send shockwaves through the system, creating many more potential issues. Juan, Chris, and Joao all came in to help get this shut down. Bortolotti was scheduled for the next day, and the repairs were made to get the hydrant back online.
A couple quick questions, Kevin.
Yeah, sure.
So, congratulations to Juan for doing such a good job on his first one. I presume this is an old hydrant that didn't have all the things that don't break it open when it gets hit by a car.
I think it had something to do with the height, and it basically where it was hit was below the the breakaway flange. So it did disrupt the bottom end of it where it was actually tied to the live main, and that does happen from time to time.
And where was it located?
On Pitcher's Way.
Okay. Thank you for that additional details.
Yeah, no worries. October 13th, Mayor Services was at Mary Dunn to put back all the Mary Dunn 1 well components and test it after the rehabilitation. After the flow test, it was then chlorinated and sampled before placed back online. This is the second of the 4 wells scheduled to be rehabbed for this year. Wednesday, we received notice that Mary Dunn 1 tank that had been undergoing a full rehab was completed, and we could now start filling the tank and start the first round of samples to be collected. This process usually can be completed in a couple of days. The first round of samples then can be collected and analyzed. Thursday, the 16th, was a busy day to say the least. We started out in the morning with a report of a water break located at 68 Yarmouth Road. It was an old steel 1-inch line, broke at the main, causing some road flooding and ultimately forcing us to shut down the water main to make repairs. Bortolotti was called and they repaired the 1-inch service at the main, and all water service was restored to that area. In addition to the water break, we also had staff at Mary Dunn 1 with carbon activated company to perform a carbon exchange on MD1 this time. Exchange was being done. We also had Calgon company simultaneously changing out the septic filters. So we had identified that issue with one of the other vessels a couple months ago, and Hans and us discussed it, and he made the decision to just get them all changed out now, so we don't have this issue happening during a busy time, perhaps. So they took care of that, and then we got that back up and running, and got samples taken out for that. And to round out that day, we had scheduled Bortolotti to replace the third of 10 hydrants to be replaced this year under the contract. The hydrant was on Baxter Road. It was H160. It was replaced, and a new gate valve was also installed due to the original installation not having one. 28th of October. Last but certainly not least, we finished out the month with a very memorable groundbreaking ceremony of the new straightway treatment facility. There were many influential people in attendance. They had very nice things to say about the history of the Highness water system, and many kind words were shared about the people that made this a possibility. Veolia staff did an excellent job preparing the site for all the visitors to the ceremony, and as an added bonus, food and drink and a few hours of recognition were all received and very well appreciated. Of course, as the contract operators for the Highness water system, we shall never rest. And this rang true once again that afternoon. We received a report of the water main break on Ocean Street. Our staff went to the location of 670 Ocean Street, and where a fencing contractor was installing guardrail and inadvertently drilled through the water main, causing the break. The main was isolated, and Bortolotti was called in to ultimately make repairs. So obviously, great pictures from the groundbreaking ceremony. Sam, you did a great job. We get a picture of what SCADA looks like when every alarm that possibly could be going off is going off during that hydrant hit. And I understand the quality is not all that awesome, so I apologize for that. Picture of the hydrant that did get hit, and then ultimately what it looked like after they made repairs. Touching a little bit on deliverables, the meter and radio program, we are absolutely crushing at this moment. Everything's going pretty good with that. The AWWA hydrant testing is pretty quiet this time of year. It's starting to get cold, so and also as a result, we don't do much valve exercising either, just because it's cold out. If there is any threat of cold weathering like that, we just kind of stay away from it. So looks like if you flip to the deliverables page, looks like we're a little bit behind, but we typically slow down this time of year, and then as things start to develop in the spring, we get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you guys don't do the system flushing and all. There's a bunch of those items you don't touch until the spring anyways. So
Yeah, a lot of that goes hand in hand with the system flushing when we get going in spring again.
I mean, it's great to see hydrant painting's done and you blew past that number.
Yep.
And we're a third of the way through the year and it seems like you're doing pretty damn well right now. So I'm happy. Does anyone else on the board have questions on the deliverables at least?
Well, Luis made it.
I'm glad you made it on, Louise. And also, I want to say once again, Kevin, thank you guys for your hard work to get everything ready for that groundbreaking ceremony, getting the site cleaned up, making sure everything looked beautiful. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So again, it's a huge,
We got good feedback on it as well, and the guys and girls did a great job. And I couldn't be more proud of my team for doing what they did. So I think everything worked out great.
Yeah, you should be proud if they did do a good job. You guys do a great job. And
Thank you.
that just showcased it. So thank you.
No, that was a nice event. I think Hans and Marcia and everybody that had a hand in it, they did a great job planning it. I wasn't around for the mayor groundbreaking, so this was my first groundbreaking, and it was definitely something to be remembered.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for you guys.
Good. Everything else looks good. I got nothing else. Does anyone from the board? Louise, do you have anything?
No, no, I'm all set.
All right. And I think we also therefore cover the contract and preventative maintenance. So thank you for going to depth on that, Kevin.
Certainly.
All right. To keep us moving along, Kevin, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Yep. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next month.
Thank you. And thank you to the guys who will be out there working on Thanksgiving Day as well.
Absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right. Matt, capital project updates.
Happy to get into them. Would you mind just sharing screen sharing ability with me? I'm trying to get the updates pulled up.
You're all set.
Awesome. And everybody's going to be really bored looking at my email, so I'll make sure I don't pull up that one. All right.
Get to stop
Here
torturing
we go.
my beautiful background.
I try my best. Believe me, nobody wants to look at my desk either. So jumping right into things, we do not have an update on our first project, the new well exploration program with Weston and Sampson. We're still in the holding pattern with that project, as we are with the Mary Dunn pilot test and Airport Wells pilots test report. And we try to get some headway on those projects this month. Now that we're fully into construction on update item number 3, the new straightway water treatment facility and replacement of the high importance Simmons Pond wells. So over the last couple of weeks, obviously Kevin alluded to the groundbreaking ceremony. We were really happy to see so many members of the board present, and we've gotten a number of positive comments back at DPW. So I feel as though that was a really successful event. It was good getting to celebrate the project with everybody, and since then, we've kind of worked with DOC to begin actual construction of the plant. So over the last couple of weeks, they've been on site taking care of relocating some of the perimeter fencing and completing setup of their erosion control measures, clearing of some vegetation, including grubbing of trees. The temporary construction fence is up around the new project perimeter. And DOC is now beginning to kind of mobilize their equipment, their field offices and construction trailers, and ready their laydown areas for material storage on site over the next couple weeks. So we're kicking off construction and getting underway out there. Happy to answer any questions on these 3 projects so far.
Matt, I just want to add, you guys had a really nice, and it's in our packet for the board members, a wonderful front page above the fold article in the Cape Cod Times about the project. Love the aerial pictures and stuff. So,
oh, perfect. I'm happy to hear that they came out so well.
Yeah, really nice to see that coverage from the town, positive coverage. And again, also thanks to you guys for everything you've done to help to make a good event.
Oh, well, I'm happy to just be a small part of it. Jumping into item number 4, we have our lead service line replacement program. Since we last met, Hans and I met with the DPW senior leadership to discuss the phase 2 report. We're happy to report back that we're going to be moving forward with finalizing the version that Kleinfelder had submitted. We'll be drafting a quick executive summary to include on the front of that report, and we'll be sharing both of those documents as well as a slideshow with the board members, hopefully at next month's meeting, jointly with Kleinfelder. So that'll kind of present the next steps that we're hoping to take in the project and how we're planning on hopefully accomplishing meeting the goals that EPA and DEP have required of us.
Great.
Item number 5, Tyler Gilman is not able to join with us today, so he passed along his updates to me, and I'm happy to jump into those. Sorry, he also did share one other piece with me. So right now, most of the systems are in the building, including some of the control equipment. We're still in the process of getting all of that, calibrated and set up. Our engineer, Weston and Sampson, is reaching out to Mass DEP for the schedule for that startup. And other than that, we're working through punch list work to complete the project with our contractor. We're also starting paperwork to extend both the contractor and our engineering consultant, just figuring that we may want to get a little bit of ahead without knowing what Mass DEP's startup testing schedule is going to look like. So other than that, we're working to close up the project and get everything functional, but we're close to the finish line on that.
Great.
Item number 6 is our Mary Dunn water main replacement for the new 16-inch water main. We've been working with our contractor, Seed Naughton Corporation, over the last couple of weeks to begin mobilizing out to the site and start construction on that project. Over the last 2 weeks or so, we've completed some test holes and also begun laying down some of the water main piping. So we're underway and hoping to progress through that project quickly.
Awesome.
All right. And then item number 7 is the Mary Dunn water tank number 1 rehabilitation. Since we last spoke, we basically completed all but the vent within the project scope, including the additional work that we had done to the tank's foundation. After that work was complete, we took our typical samples, 1 for VOCs, as well as 2 for bacteria and residual chlorine for the water storage tank. The sampling results came back clean, so we're able to get the tank back online in early November. And other than Dynamic mobilizing to the site in early December to install the new roof vent, project's basically closed out, and we're just working through final pay requisitions and balancing change orders to reflect the actual quantities of the work that were done.
I just want to say, guys, that is the most impressive timeline for a project I've ever seen happen. I'm very impressed at how quickly that got done.
I was equally impressed. I can't believe that the paint came out looking that good with how fast they were able to get through that. But Dynamic did a really good job on pulling that project off.
Yeah. I hope you guys can be good references for them in the future.
Yeah, certainly. I don't have too much to complain about with them whatsoever. And then our last updates for project number 8, the Crocker Street water main replacement. Project's been awarded to JW Dubus. They've gotten underway with the work itself. We're working through having the new transmission main along Crocker Road installed, and they're progressing through that quickly. Water services installs have started this week, and so far, so good with that project. Happy to answer any questions on anything so far.
I'm good, but anyone else on the board have questions? Looks like you do.
No, I'm all set.
Oh, okay.
Done a great job.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job there.
You are.
And I hear, Matt, you might be getting someone to help you out on a permanent basis.
Yeah, we actually did hire a new project engineer, 1 for the Hyannis water system position. So his name is Juan Rios. He's been with us as a construction inspector for about the last 8 months or so in DPW, primarily working with the sewer crews, but he's worked on the Crocker Street water main replacement and a couple of these other smaller jobs here and there for us as an inspector. So he's somewhat familiar with it, and he's got a real willingness to learn. So we're looking forward to having him on, and certainly could use the extra set of hands.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Great.
Patrick or Tim,
Perfect.
do you guys have any questions?
I do not.
No, neither do I.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for the time, everybody. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me in between meetings as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Bye.
Matt. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all if I don't speak to you before then, too. All right.
All
Have a good
right.
one. Bye.
Thank you, guys. All right. Next up, we got Eric here from Next Gen. Do a second run of fiscal year 2027 operating budget capital rates model presentation. So let's go, Eric.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, nice to see everybody virtually. I hope everybody's doing well. Since we last met last month, we've had a couple conversations with Hans and Mark Milne, of course, to get our model better situated in terms of future capital and cash flows. So I will bring the model up and just briefly talk about some of the updates we made. Primarily, they were on the capital plan. Give me one moment here. All right, you should be able to see that. So what I'm going to do is just jump over to the capital plan. Again, the model incorporates all operating capital customer information. I will show the capital improvement plan. So some of the changes we made, and Hans, correct me if I'm missing anything. We added this $4.5 million for lead service line inventory and replacement in fiscal year 28. The model previously did have the 2 million in fiscal 27. This is something that we added during our discussions. We also got the straightway treatment cumulative amount to the proper amount and adjusted some of the timing there, 15 million per year for SRF loans. We also moved, excuse me, I went a little too far. We moved this new well construction treatment plan transmission main out a year. These years used to be previously from 32 to 34. They're now 33 to 35, totaling an additional 40 million in new wells, treatment plant, and transmission mains. Hans, did I cover all of the changes, I believe?
Yes, you did. And the only other caveat I want to make sure the board understands is that when you go to the lead service line inventory and replacement plan development, the 2 million is in the current fiscal year 27 ask. The 4.5 is it's kind of a guess, and it's a guess on the high side. We really don't know that number yet. So it could be 1 million, it could be 2.5. We really don't know because we don't have a full 100% inventory yet. And that is why we need that $2 million to finish the inventory, then create a report and a plan of how much do we really have to replace, yes or no, and which part are we going to replace, and what's the timeline, and are there any grants available? So this 4.5 is basically worst case scenario, and most likely it will be less than that.
Hans, thank you for explaining that. I'm
Yes.
glad you guys are doing worst case scenario.
That's right. And just a high level look again, if we add up all of the capital spending in the forecast, this includes some earlier years, we're about $158 million. If we look at SRF funded going back to the current fiscal 27 ask, that's an additional 137 million in SRF funding. That's what this rate forecast essentially gets you in terms of capital investment. There's some additional cash sheets here, but it's a minor amount compared to the additional SRF funding.
Yep. And I understand you're still working on a couple details on the some of the fees that go with this debt.
We've gotten that. We made a quick adjustment here, and I actually highlighted down here, so we've included those fees. So we have the debt issuance expense and the revolving run fee linked, so you can see these as you issue more and more debt, those fees will increase. as will the cost of the issue each year. So we've got the model set with those.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then
And
the
you,
other,
and you
Oh.
did that in because that's an operating budget expense, right? So, okay,
Correct.
that's it.
Yep.
In schedule number 2, O&M expenses. Okay, yes.
Correct. Yep. So as
But-
if we were to move those projects, these would adjust with the timing and the magnitude of those projects. So we're doing our best to be consistent with those fees and the operating
Okay.
expenses.
and I think,
Every, Mhm.
oh, go ahead. Someone's gonna say something?
I would just say everything else, I think those are the only real adjustments we made.
The other one we did is we split out, we said we were gonna look at the high residential usage rate. Do you mind going
Right.
over that for a minute?
Absolutely. So we adjusted our rate increase to, we included the second tier, although we're keeping that consistent. So if you recall, there was one rate increase that sort of drove the whole model previously. So this rate increase on this top line here, as I move over, this is all other rates and fees and the first tier. This rate increase is for the second tier, and this is for the third tier. So what that means is when we go forward, now you see this fiscal year 27 proposed rate increase, all of our other fees are increasing 4%, but that top tier quarterly residential usage tier over 60 units per quarter is increasing at 15%. What this percentage shows you is if you adopted those two different rate increases and on those different components of the rate, this is the overall increase in rate revenue generated by those increases.
Okay.
So
And that's
when you talk
balance for usage, right?
exactly, it's balanced for the usage. So for instance, if I were to make this 4, you know, it's slightly over 4 because some of the usage is increasing. But if I make this 15, you're getting 5.6. A majority of your usage is in those lower tiers. So if I were to even make this, 30, it only increases the total overall revenue by a couple percent. So we're balancing, hey, we're gonna do 4% for everybody except those that fall into this highest usage tier. For them, we're gonna do a 15%. Going forward, you can see what I've done is consistent with what we did last year, which was increase those percentages by 25 basis points across the board each year. So you're increasing the amount consistent with the top tier on a going forward basis. Again, that is just for the purpose of this discussion and modeling.
Yeah.
This
Why
Cool.
would you do that? I don't understand that because the long-term goal really is to get as low of a rate increase as possible. So why would you incrementally go up? I don't
When we-
understand that. Can you explain that?
given the updates we made to the capital program, you can see our free cash line is kind of right meeting at that 4 on the long-term basis. If I bring these down and keep those rate increases flat over this period,
Yeah.
you will see we start falling below that and on a pretty stark trajectory, such that we're under 2 by the end of this forecast.
Huh.
Yeah, that was
So-
something we always had in the model, Hans, for the last few runs.
Mhm.
Was a slow kind of rise in rates. Really trying not to shock people with a big jump like we had to do in the past.
And again, on a 5-year basis, if you look at this area of the chart right here, fiscal year 27 to 31, this is very stable. Once we layer on those additional several tens of $1 millions of debt, you can see the trend of these flat rate increases in these out years. You can see begin to start to significantly fall behind the cash flow needs given the additional debt.
Okay. But that is, so it kind of makes sense then at the beginning, so starting fiscal year 27, to not go too low with your rate increases. And in
Mhm.
that way, you can you don't have to do larger rate increases later on, right? So if you do for fiscal year 27, like a 5 or a 5.5%,
Mhm.
does that mean then later on in 3 or 4 or 5 years, you can sort of back off a little bit and do less of a rate increase? Because
I'm gonna do,
what I don't
yeah.
like to see is an rate increase going up and up and up. That's just not a good thing. You know, long term, it would be nice to be able to eventually get to a point where we have just an inflation type of rate increase, like 3% or something like that, if we're done with capital spending.
Well, that last part is the key, right? That you're still layering on a lot of capital in these out years, which is causing
Yeah.
that. So what I did was I did 5 years at 5% and 15%.
Yeah.
And that seems to stabilize things. You're still on the downward trend, but you're still above that four. Um,
Okay.
Again, that's looking 8, 10 years into the future almost. It's
Yeah. So God knows what happens then, but at least, I'm just not comfortable going with like low percentage rate increase now and then pay for it in the future. I'd rather do the opposite or keep it like stable.
so in terms of bill impacts, I do want to show sort of what happens here, and that's where we show it down here. I've highlighted the median quarterly residential customer, 16
Okay.
CCF. This is now a high quarterly residential customer at 80, just to demonstrate what happens when you hit that over 60. So if I go over here and look at the change from 26 to 27, you can see the median goes up by 5%. I'll show you the dollar amounts here in a moment. Right, $7 per quarter. But this high user that's at 80 goes up by 7%, which is approximately $30 at that usage level. So the bill increase for that larger user is not only a higher dollar amount, which makes sense, but it's also a higher percentage because of the rate structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
No,
exactly what promotes conservation, hopefully.
but I think what you're talking about, Hans, is that you think that we're shortchanging ourselves right now if we I think we originally were going to do a 4.25 rate increase this year. Is that right?
We had it at 4.
4.
Yeah.
And then go up add a quarter point every year. And Hans's
Yeah.
idea is, okay, let's just go back to 5. And
Yes.
I think the question for the board is, the political question is, are we comfortable going back to 5 we've been the last few years, or should we try to keep these next couple of years where we have kind of a sense of people getting squeezed on their bills as low as possible? Louise, you look like you've got your.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that.
I'll stop sharing so we can discuss. We can always go back.
Yeah. Hans, you have a problem at 5?
No, my problem is more fundamental in the sense I don't like kicking a difficult item down the road. I rather just deal with it. So
Okay.
to basically see a larger rate increase in the future just to keep a smaller rate now is, in my
Okay.
opinion, and that's just my opinion, not a good thing. I rather look at a future where eventually we can lower the rate increases to more the regular inflation rate, which is around 3%. Now, realizing that ain't going to happen when we have all these huge treatment plants we got to build. But eventually, the idea is after that work is done, we should be able to be in a spot where we're not keep on going up with rates increases. We're going down, and we're basically giving back to the ratepayers in a sense. So I don't like
Right.
to kick kick that ball down the road and have the future ratepayers.
So essentially go higher now and then decrease.
Eventually, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And when
looking
you,
at.
does 5% seem too much of an increase right now to you? Or do
No,
you,
I think it's reasonable.
the 5 is reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Can I
thought it
ask a
was
quick-
too.
Can I put you on the spot, Mark? What are you seeing for other fees increases across the town? Because I know this is looked holistically across the town as well.
I think our initial rate projection models for sewer, Eric, are coming in around 5% as well. So
Yeah.
it's consistent with what we're seeing in the sewer fund. And so from that perspective, Sam, yeah, they're around the same.
Okay.
And I would just have to agree with Hans. I think, keeping it's been at 5% for a number of years now. We're consistently keep it there. For the next several years, we'll be able to cover all of this. The debt service is what's driving this. It's
Right.
you have massive capital programs coming online, and those loans are all going to require those types of percentage increases every single year. But once that debt service is on the books, it starts to go down year after year, and we can start, as Eric's model shows, the rate increases fall below 5% a year in the outer years. And it's going to be that way for 20 to 30 years as these loans are being paid back before we get into a cost of living, as Hans was mentioning, an inflationary factor.
May I ask a question? In a couple years from now, was I reading it correctly that free cash actually goes negative on an annual basis, meaning we're going to be pulling from our actual own reserves?
Correct. And let me share again to show when that transition point happens.
And Patrick, this brings up a good question because we will be free cash flow negative this next year, even at 5%. So I just want to add that to this conversation.
So that in itself is a problem.
So this first year, this is 27, we are showing that you'd be slightly free cash flow negative, but still well above the 4.0 target. Under this 5% forecast, beginning in fiscal year 32 is when we start seeing cash flow negative and coming down off of that peak and settling in at 4. But again, you can see this trajectory here where this sort of a crash landing right here, right? We're not decreasing slowly. We're on a sort of straight line decrease.
Can you
So I
also
guess the point I was getting, go ahead.
Can you just push 5% out to the end of the model? I think you still have it 4% in
I do, yeah. If I pull the 5 out for these last few years, it'll smooth it out a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing, Eric, but the other thing that we might have to do just for financial reason is maybe kick out a couple of years the capital projects. Mary Dunn is needed, the new wells, in all practicality, who the heck knows when that's going to happen?
And I'll show you, if we say those are beyond the scope of this model, we're not going to be issuing that debt within the 2035 timeframe.
Yeah.
You can see it looks essentially the same.
Okay. Okay.
It pulled this up a little bit. If I
Okay.
go back, but again, because of the timing of that debt, what's really driving this is this capital investment right here. It's all of this right here. It's
Yeah.
Mary Dunn and Straightway. This total right here is almost $100 million in new SRF and bonds within a 5-year, 6-year time frame. That Mary Dunn and Straightway is causing the debt service to look like this.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. I must have done something. I must have done
You're
something
freaking
that
me out now, Eric.
I must have done something that I didn't want to do. Give me a second here. I'm gonna
Sure.
reopen this. So
it sounds like, maybe we have to just consider in the next, as we continue to look forward, is pushing Mary Dunn a year. I know you don't, I hate to hit the signs, but a year out from there, just trying to
Yeah.
stretch out that capital project so that,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the other question
exactly.
let's ask is if we do this, when we do the well exploration program, maybe we can add users in that area if they don't currently have water service in the area.
Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is we have it all in one spreadsheet. And the other good thing is, we look at worst case scenario. Just like with this straightway plant, we moved things around. In practicality, when we start construction, doesn't mean that you start your debt service. Most of them, there's 1 or 2 years. You spread it out. Who knows what's going to happen in 5 years with the federal government, state government. So a lot of this is not as definite as it looks like when we have a spreadsheet in front of us. So there's some flexibility, but at least, I would say if we are staying with 5%, I think we put ourselves in front of the 8 ball, not behind the 8 ball, and it's a good way to look ahead. But yeah, no matter what you do, you got to pay up at the end of the day.
So to demonstrate what that would do, this is again, I set it back to the 5% model for every except that top tier is at 15%. So you can see you hover around 6.5% overall revenue increase each year. If I go to Mary Dunn, which is right here, 31 to 33, if I shift that just 2 years, right? So now we're at 33 to 35. Look what happens to this chart.
Oh,
Okay.
that's nice.
It stabilizes at that 2032, 23. So again, in anticipation of that flexibility, that a year or two from now we might do just that and bump it out. It stabilizes this model in a big way.
That's good to see.
That's great.
So as long as we're keeping it in sort of the immediate, next 5-year time frame, this is the trajectory that the 5% puts us on.
Sure.
And that's why I said as a 4 or 5 year model, this is very stable. As a 10-year model, that's where it becomes shaky. But again, that's subject to changing where that timing.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it shaky though, Eric, because I think it's actually great for like long-term planning purposes.
Right.
And we really can see what this means long-term if we do this or if we do that, and we can make better decisions because of it. So I really like it in a geeky way.
Yeah. So the real question, again, this all assumes a higher third tier increase when in proportion. It's 5 for everybody and 15 in each of these years. So from a policy direction, you can call it a 6.6% rate revenue increase, or you can call it, the nominal rate increase.
Yeah. So I mean, I think for the board's sakes, I know we're about to lose Louise in a few minutes. I think, we have one more rate model to run through. Maybe I think what we need to do is look at that 5%. Think about the board if we want to try to start to stretch out Mary Dunn a little bit. And are people okay with the 15 for the high residential users?
Yes, I am.
Patrick?
I think I would want to do one more deep dive. I have a couple of ideas I'll run by you.
Yeah.
Whether it's worth.
What do you want to toss out right now?
Sure. So instead of operating, say, how much cash do we have on hand typically? Was it 15 million?
No.
No, you're about, call it 7.
7?
It's risen from about 5.5 to 7 over the past several years.
So pretend that we have 0. I guess, what would it take in the model to make it so the numbers work, so cash flow ends up being 0 every year?
Mm-hmm.
So you only have enough cash to operate, like pay your bills and collect, and then you're not like dwindling, because a slow bleed is a slippery slope.
Yes.
we can certainly run, I won't do it here because it takes modifications,
Right.
but
That's
we
going
can
to be a big
certainly run
modification.
something that is a cash flow neutral flat projection. Yeah.
Because you never know who's going to replace Hans in 50 years, or other members of this board who might want to borrow, start spending money today, or borrow, or just keep kicking stuff down the road.
Yeah,
Good
Yeah.
point.
yeah. I think it's a very good point to bring up. I think we just also have to consider the implications of yo-yoing around rates,
Mhm.
and if we can even get that passed, basically. But I think
Right.
it's a good thing to look into, Patrick.
I think it's a good point.
So you're basically, Patrick, if I understand it right, you're looking at getting rid of in theory, getting rid of the policy of having 4 months reserve.
No, just using it as like a hypothetical. So you're not using your existing cash flow to pay debt service. You're basically, your own operational cash is sufficient to pay debt service. Because if you're like, because if, Eric, is there a better way? I think you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. What I can tell you just from a back of the envelope and looking at the model, what that would do is have low rate increases now, but when that debt kicks in, a one-time or two-time very large rate increase to
Okay.
match that debt profile, and then flattening out the rate increases. So it's sort of timing the
But
rate increases to more align with the debt rather than that smooth ramp up, which again increases fund balance and then decreases fund balance as that debt rolls on. So it's
so you kind of have considered that by presenting it in a model this way.
yeah, and I'll just show you visually what that looks like. And we don't need to run the numbers because it would take some time to do that. But you can see here, this is our expenses versus revenues. This green line is the 5%. You can see how we're sort of anticipating this large jump in debt service, and we're sort
Gotcha.
of building up revenues to get there. I can't get this on the one screen. What we could do is we can do 2% and keep this green line on top of these bars. But then you can see we're gonna have to jump here. We're gonna have to do a
Okay.
20% rate increase to bring this line there. So it's a seesaw that we're trying to smooth out by doing these rate increases 27 through 31. So by the time we need to pay an additional 1.4 plus another $2.5 million of debt, our rates are already there with a 5% increase.
Hans, once the money is in Hyannis Water's like account, is it still up for grabs for the town? Meaning,
No.
okay, so once we have it, we have it.
Yes. So
Okay.
my question, Eric, is if you go to the graph, right, go to the right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So kind of like what we have in the dip, right there, like around 20
Yeah.
fiscal year 2020 is
Mhm.
kind of what Patrick is talking about.
What he's talking about is you see this increase and then decrease. You
Yeah.
could smooth this out so that it's flat. What that means is you do less rate increases here and more rate increases here, rather than keeping the rate increase flat and having the cash flow go up and then, or the cash balance go up and then down. But
Okay.
to your point, Hans, and I could actually probably back of the envelope model it now. If we did 2% rate increases, you see how this gets nice and flat?
Yeah.
Right.
But what happened? Now we're
Yeah,
now we're
it's
going
bad.
negative.
So
Now
it's kind
yeah.
of the example of what I advocated against, which is kicking the ball down the road in a sense, just
Right.
to, yeah.
So I
And
guess to protect ourselves, because we have the good intentions, is it needs to be like put in a rainy day fund in
Yeah,
a sense.
we
Yeah.
treat that as a rainy day fund. We're building up now so that in the future we can burn some of that away to get, our target's five months. And
Mhm.
theoretically, at the end of all this big project, we'll work ourselves back to that 5 month project.
4 months. 4 months.
4 months, sorry, 4 month
Yeah.
that rate.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I did the best as I could to flatten that out, but you see this big jump right here. I think I did 2% for 4 years and then 15,
Right.
12, 6,
Yeah, you
right?
can't do that.
So
Yeah,
it's
and senior town leadership would have a hissy fit on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
because they're looking at the whole town with everything. So,
Right.
and 4 or 5% is palatable in their judgment. If it's more, it's a major problem.
It's
Thank
so you
you for
don't have to
explaining
do the
that.
12. Yep.
That helps me understand the numbers a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, this is where we have to play the game of politics as well, Patrick, is that, we can't perfectly run that. I mean, I'd imagine you as a big water user, imagine if you suddenly had your water bill go up 20% in a year. It would,
You can't.
you can't. So we rather, the really horrible analogy is we need to boil the frog slowly. You can't throw them in a boiling water 1 year when we have all this
Yeah.
debt service. And yeah,
I
not
remember when there was that big increase a few years ago. I was like,
Yeah.
where did this come from?
Yeah.
that was to save us from that hole. We got down to like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't fun, and you were not the only one complaining, Patrick. But it was a major deal, and our front office was off the hook. Everybody bitching and moaning. It's hard. It's not easy. And the other thing too is in the future, you don't know what we're gonna hit, what's gonna happen. Because maybe what happens is we're gonna, in a couple of years, get into a terrible, terrible recession, and we really need to take care of the ratepayers and say, nobody can afford, for whatever reason, a 5% increase. Let's keep it 0 for a year just to get through this recession or something. And if you have a 4-month reserve, you can do that. If you got nothing, you can't. So it gives you future flexibility financially, if need be.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Louise, you
I
need
have-
to jump off, right?
Yeah, I have to go, but I want to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you. I'm sorry I have
Happy
to leave.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving, Louise.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
that's
thanks.
okay,
Thank
the
you.
rest of the board, it
Thanksgiving.
might be a good moment to carry on and continue this conversation to next month when we do our final vote,
Exactly.
right?
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Thank you.
Eric? Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yes, we will be back. Thank you.
All right. Next item, capital project timeline. Hans?
Yeah, that's for me. It's basically the 2 projects that town council voted for the fiscal year 26 budget year. One of them was the pipe replacement and upgrade program, 1.5 million. The work plan for fiscal year 26. It's the last funding cycle for the Longview Drive project. What's happening there is we are basically stockpiling money so we can work together with the sewer expansion program and replace, while they're digging for sewer, replace all the old AC pipe in the area at the same time. And that's where we're heading this spring. It's probably going to go out to bid, and then probably start construction next fall. Okay. The other project is the $200,000 cash for water supply wells, pump station, and treatment plant repairs. We're just hiring Juan, is I think the right way to say it. He has a lot of construction and contractor experience. So we definitely gonna put him to work on all the roofs, the windows, doors. There's a lot of work that needs to get done. We think he's going to be a great asset to us. That's all I have.
Great. That's awesome, Hans. Any questions from the board on that? All right. Lifting of state of water supply conservation, follow up. Hans?
We basically sent the certification to Mass DEP, the state. We had things on the website, and we had an ad in the paper. Kelly dealt with all that, and we are good to go for now. And keep on praying for rain over the winter, I guess. But the reality is, because it's such a strong and pretty stringent drought, that it would surprise me if we did not have to do the same thing next spring.
Yeah.
But we'll tackle that probably in the March type of time frame. Okay.
Questions from the board? All right, groundbreaking ceremony, Straightway Water Treatment Plant follow-up. I thought we had a great groundbreaking event. I know we've talked about it a bit already in this meeting, but I just thought it went really well. I'm sorry, Patrick, you and Tim, you guys couldn't make it. But I've heard nothing but good things about it. So thank you, Hans. Thank you, Veolia. Thank you, our contractors. Thank you to all the, town of Barnstable people that put all the time and work, staff levels and politicians and everyone who joined. I thought it was a great event.
Yeah, well, I want to basically agree with that, and also thank the board for you guys' support. But it's a big, big project for us.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? All right, presentation to town council last Thursday. So last Thursday is just a follow-up. I presented about to town council. They're asking all the boards from the town to come in every so often, every couple of years, and talk about what they're up to. So we really talked and presented on something we haven't talked about before with them, which is just water quantity, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about how much water we have and how much we can pump. So we threw them some really strong numbers about our pumping capacity, where we are in terms of demand, and how we're going to basically meet and exceed that with the existing projects that we're planning and figuring out how to pay for. So I'd recommend people if you want it, it's about 15 minutes out of town council, go watch the video if you're interested. Hans?
No, it's I 100% agree with you. It's our projects are, the treatment plant projects are not only water quality, which is a major deal, but also to deal with water quantity. So these projects deal with both.
Yep. Patrick or Tim? All right. Last thing, proposed meeting schedules in 2026. I know I've talked to you guys individually about doing some more in person, kind of breaking it out. I know we're missing now 2 members, so I don't really want to make a formal decision today. But I wanted to just kind of see if you guys had anything you wanted to say, in the meeting about going to a more in-person schedule for next year.
Personally, I find the group enjoyable, and it would be just, I think you get more out of the meeting that way.
I completely agree with you, Patrick. Tim, do you have anything you want to add?
I think what we discussed was fine.
Yep.
It's a lot easier in the off months for sure. So
Yeah, and we are looking at doing the meetings around 5:30, I think is what we've got tentatively set on the agenda, the schedule for the space. So we would keep the time same month to month. It would just, the space would move. Because I think if we try to do 2 things, it could confuse us. So, any other questions or comments on that stuff? Sorry for blowing through. I just know people have got a lot of stuff going on, and we have a limited board here. Anything else? I have nothing else from matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Hans, do you have anything you want to add?
No, we're in heavy duty construction schedule right now. The guys are swamped. It's busy like crazy. But everything is going good at this moment. Knock on wood.
Great. Patrick or Tim, do you have anything you want to add?
No, not at all. Thank you.
Great.
no, good to.
All
Thanks.
right. Is there a motion
Well,
to adjourn?
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll move the motion.
I'll second it. All right, Tim,
Aye.
Patrick,
Yes.
aye. Bye from me. All right, we'll see you guys all a month. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. We'll see you.
Thanks.